Hey guys, how's it going? Coach Tyson from Oxstrength, and today we're going to be talking about what is a deload, what is its purpose, kaile linu parcha, and what are some of the potential things that you could be doing wrong when you're doing a deload, or maybe ignoring the fact that deload is important. Right? So let's talk step by step. So first things first, what is a deload? So deload is basically like a microcycle of training which is slightly lighter than your regular top sets, but not to make it easier, but to elevate some of the fatigue that you have accumulated over the past training weeks. So microcycle bhandakheri it's usually like a week of training. So normally हामीले Sunday let's say squat, Monday bench, Tuesday deadlift गर्छ, अनि Thursday SBD गरेर for example, अनि week सक्यो नि त, अनि फेरि next time squat आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ that's end of a microcycle. So 1 week training चाहिँ हामीले microcycle भनेर भन्छौँ, अनि त्यो 1 week मा चाहिँ अलिकति lighter intensity ले गर्ने workout लाई चाहिँ deload भन्छ. So generally if you're following a structured training program that week to week you're not jumping off of a program or like week to week तपाईको different exercise भइरहेको छैन भने one microcycle is usually the same as the next microcycle unless something very big or some incident happens, नत्र भने एउटै कुरा भइरा हुन्छ. So त्यस्तो ट्रेनिङ प्रोग्राममा छ भने चाहिँ basically you're starting a training cycle quite light, भनौं न RP 6 7 or like maybe 70% मा start गरिरहेछ, and then the training gets progressively harder and harder week by week up until a point where you cannot progress anymore. So let's say we are doing a 4 week of accumulation. So week 1 100 kg गर्यो, 110 गर्यो, week 2 week 3 120, week 4 130 गर्यो, अनि week 5 मा आउँदाखेरि चाहिँ 150 गर्यो भने त हो सक्दैन होला, or like even to just repeat the same performance पनि maybe नसक्नु सक्छ. यस्तो भयो भने चाहिँ we sort of have an idea that our body is craving for a deload, and then we might want to reduce some intensity through load, reps or volume, and then call that week a deload week. Alright, so now that we know what a deload is, we need to understand few other things so that we can place a deload based on if you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate, if you're an advanced, or even if you're an elite level athlete, because सबैजनालाई different time मा deload चाहिन सक्छ. Beginner लाई चाहिँ mostly longer time somewhere without deload they can run, whereas more advanced elite हुँदै गएपछि चाहिँ shorter training cycles हुँदै जान्छ, just because of how much minimum effective work you can do in order to make progress. And chunk of our training should always be within the minimum effective range to how much you can adapt up to a point. So what is a RPE that is lower than what is needed to progress? So normally हामीले त्यसलाई चाहिँ RPE 6 भनेर क्याप गर्छौं, अनि generally RPE 6 बाट नै हाम्रो ट्रेनिङ ब्लक स्टार्ट गरिरहेको हुन्छ हैन. So RPE 6 भनेको basically you have 4 reps left in the tank, अनि according to the research RPE 6 7 8 9 or even 10 मा गर्दाखेरि there isn't much of a difference when it comes to how much progress you can make, how much muscle you can build, or how much stronger you can get. So the stimulus between this RPE range is pretty much similar, while 10 being obviously you can improve a lot more when you're doing RPE 10, but then it comes at a fatigue cost that you can always sustain RPE 10. So RPE 10 गरे week by week RPE 10 गर्यो भने त you need to deload even more frequently, हैन. So we want to stay in that phase for as long as possible while still making incremental progress week by week. So let's say we start our new training block at RPE 6. So yeah, we're 6 बाट then we go to 7 बाट 8 बाट 9, and maybe even 10, and then we can deload. So this is a very common case scenario. But then for some other athletes, let's say beginner athlete लाई नै भनौं न त, so RPE 6 बाट start गर्यो, but then we add 5 kgs more, which is still progress, but then the intensity is still RPE 6. यस्तो पनि cases हुन्छ, and then we add 5 kgs more, and then the intensity is still RPE 6. 2 weeks भइसक्यो, but then RPE 7 पुग्नु पर्ने हैन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ maybe not, just because you're adapting so fast. तर अब अर्को 5 kgs add गर्दा maybe we reach RPE 7, and then 7 we can stay for a bit more time while still adding weight. 5 kgs I think is a big jump, but then like 2.5 गर्यो भने पनि we're still within the effective range नि त. So while we're still in the effective range, we are making progress, week by week progress भइरहेछ. You're not too tired, but then you're still making progress, muscle पनि build भइरहेको हुन्छ. So 7 8 9 same thing, and this I've seen as long as 16 weeks. Like with one of my clients, we started adding weight for his 3 and his 8 reps, and that's what we kept adding weight, and it went for 16 weeks, and that's like amazing and then we built a lot of muscle without feeling any burnout or like and we kept making progress, and it was really amazing that we did, हैन. So यस्तो हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ बिगिनरको केसमा चाहिँ we can stretch out the deload a lot more. तर let's say if you're an intermediate or a more advanced level athlete, usually deloads are anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks. So के हुन्छ भने week 1 we start at RP 6, let's say 100 kgs. Week 2 मा RP 6 भन्दा नि मैले load progression मा focus गरेँ, we added 10 kgs, right, let's say, and then it's RP 7, RP 8, RP 9, and then 9 पछिको following week मा 5th week मा when we're coming back, it's like maybe आज त 10 kgs add गर्न सक्दैन होला. If I add 10 kgs, I'll either have to go down in reps or just use a bad form or cut the rep short or something. यस्तो हुने week जुन हुन्छ नि, when you come into the gym, यो week लाई चाहिँ what we can do is either we can push it and then the following week can be a deload. But then if it's like a regular trend, like I'm every 5 weeks one deload लिइरहेको छ भने this week is most likely going to be a deload जस्तो feel भयो भने चाहिँ this week चाहिँ can be a deload week. तर like I said, it has to be a structure. So जहिले different workout गरेर आयो अनि एक दिन थाक्यो अनि ए यो त deload भन्यो अनि weight कम्ती गर्यो त्यस्तो चाहिँ हुनु भएन. It has to be a planned, logical sequence so that even during the accumulation phase, we're doing as much work as possible, as much accumulation as possible within that, that spectrum of rep range between RP 6 to RP 9, generally 10 हुनु थाल्यो भने अलिकति too risky हुनु जान्छ. So this is how normally deload would play out. And in terms of more advanced athletes, यो minimum effective volume नै अलिकति heavier हुनु जान्छ के. So it's not possible to keep adding weight every single week. So let's say for me, for example, I start a block at an RP 8. So RP 6 is too much technique work. I don't have to work hard to fight the weight. So normally RP 6, 7 is dedicated for volume work. But then when I'm doing singles, मेरो starting week नै RP 8 हुन्छ, and that's also because being more advanced, I'm able to select better weight when it comes to RP 8. Sometimes अरूहरूले गर्यो भने they might overshoot or they might undershoot drastically. तर with me, maybe I'm better able to select the better weight. But then RP 8 single squat ma it's 270 kgs and it's so close to my max, हैन. So के हुन्छ भने then next week all I can do is add 2.5 or even repeat the weight if it's over. So 2.5 add गर्यो, 2.5 added, 2.5 add गर्यो. It's already towards like my upper end. So third week मा नै deload आउने बेला भइसक्छ के. तर by this time अरू volume work मा चाहिँ I'm still doing incremental progress, let's say 4 into 5 with 220, 225, 230, which is still pushing the accumulation phase so hard. अनि त्यसपछि ठ्याक्क RP 9 नलिकन नै then we take a deload just because we can't even push from the volume work. So my accumulation to deload phase could be a bit different, and this is, I think, example of more like beginner, intermediate, and somebody like me, an advanced level athlete को deload कसरी हुन्छ. अब elite मा जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ obviously elite people are not gonna watch this video, but then what we normally do is alternating style मा we plan our training cycle just so that एउटा week heavy हुन्छ, the following week is light, and then the third week is medium, and then fourth week is heavy, something like that. अनि चारवटा तीनटै lift को we just play around like that. तर we'll not talk much about the elite side because it's only gonna be confusing at this point. So this is how generally our deload is kept. But then a beginner को केसमा अघि नै हामीले कुरा गर्दा गर्दै अलिकति मिस गरे जस्तो लाग्यो. Like sometimes के हुन्छ भने end of a mesocycle भइसक्छ and it feels like it's running out too long, and then it's starting to get a bit boring, like exercises change गरिरहन्छ. So deload लिनुभन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ what we can do is, this is something that we put in our beginner training program as well, and I think some of the power building program as well. We put AMRAP sets at the end of the block before we deload. Just because when we do an AMRAP, we're for sure that it's going to be RP 10, अनि त्यो AMRAP भन्दा next week progress गर्नु ठाउँ हुँदैन नि त. So that's like a all out sort of a phase, and then next week you can take a deload, and then your AMRAP को estimated 1 rep max बाट चाहिँ then you can start a new training block. So this is something that we've been doing here for quite some time, but this is not something that I recommend more advanced level athlete because it just puts you at a higher risk of injury or technical breakdown, or maybe even 1 week of deload is sometimes not enough to recover from the stress that could be caused during the AMRAP. So it's mostly reserved for more beginner athletes. All right, so I think this gives you a general idea of what a deload is, how would you place a deload in your training program, but then something that is a bit left out in terms of deload is that people consider deload training to be easy training, yeah? So which is totally not the case. Obviously, it's going to be slightly easier than other accumulation phases like week 3, week 4, and mount that it becomes really, really hard. So deload is slightly easier training, but it's not an excuse to not be able to train hard enough. I know. So you're taking the deload because your body cannot take it any more further, so that we're taking 1 week off so that we can reignite the fire within us. We can like replenish all the energy that we have for the next training blocks. I know. So that's the most important thing of a deload. But then at the same time, what happens is when we're pushing close to our maximum recoverable volume the week before deload, our technical breakdownहरु भइसक्यो हुन थाल्छ, हाम्रो टेक्निक अलिकति बिग्रिन्छ, अब कसैलाई चाहिँ सब मेन्टली पनि अफेक्ट गर्छ, लाइक मोटिभेसन डाउन हुन्छ. सो डिलोड लिँदाखेरि चाहिँ वी क्यान रिएडजस्ट हाम्रो टेक्निक, how we're moving through space, how we're better able to find our body's center of mass when we're squatting, benching, deadlifting, whatever. So your times it's really to improve yourself as a lifter and set yourself up for success for the next block, and so that you're ready to take on a new challenge. Like deload पछि normally switch पनि हुन्छ नि the things. So normally अब hypertrophy and maybe you could go into strength. It sets you up भनौँ न basically. So it's not easy training. You still have to work hard. And if deload मा आउँदाखेरि week 1 day 1 मै you feel like ओहे कस्तो बलियो छ आज त प्यार हान्न सक्छु जस्तो लागेछ भने चाहिँ it's probably that because you didn't push hard enough during your entire training block, and I wouldn't even deload at this point. And generally अब जहिले ट्रेन गरिराख्छ कस्तो इन्टेन्सिटीसँग आफूले प्रोग्राम गरिरहन्छ, कोचहरुसँग कसरी कम्युनिकेसन भइरहन्छ, यो अनुसारले then we can develop a trend. So let's say just like गर्दाखेरि we normally train 4 weeks and then 1 week is deload. We train 4 weeks, 1 week is deload. Sometimes we train 3 weeks, like strength block we train 3 weeks, 1 week is deload. Everyone is a bit different. Neha can run a slightly longer block because of her recoverable capacities and so on and so forth. So in your general trend say baniसक्छ with all the athletes, and we don't keep changing over time. हुन्छ नि आज यस्तो भयो next time यस्तो त्यस्तो हुँदैन. So एउटा trend भएपछि then we can follow, and sometimes when we're closer to the competition we can push the boundary a little bit and then hold back, and त्यसरी चाहिँ deload लाई पनि fine tune गर्दै लाने हो. So it's a really good opportunity for you to understand yourself, your body, and then be really, really strong. So deload is not easy training. It is hard training that you have to be very methodical about. And finally, like if you're not following a structured training program हुन्छ नि week by week same छैन भने चाहिँ sometimes deload यतिकै randomly मान्छेहरुले randomly हाल्दिन्छ when they're getting hurt or like they're demotivated or they're traveling just to act cool, like deload भन्यो and then just not be able to perform. त्यस्तो चाहिँ deload लाई युज नगरे भने नै better हुन्छ. अनि even people who don't train without a structure, if you don't deload, your body is going to do it for you भन्छ नि. So that's so true. Like you just keep doing AMRAPs, like दुई हप्तालाई त जोश आउँछ ल म त जति पनि हुन्छ नि, like I can fight anything, म त एकदम mentally strong छु यस्तो वाला माइन्डसेट भने 2 weeks 3 weeks पछि like your body, no matter how mentally strong you are, like your body has a limit, the iron doesn't भन्छु म कतिचोटी. So if you keep pushing, like it's gonna break and your body is gonna do the deload for you. So deload मा there's a fine balance. It's gonna happen if you don't do it, but at the same time if you are not pushing hard enough funny, like deload doesn't make sense. If like week 1 if you're day 1 of deload you feel strong. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on deload. I think I covered everything that I wanted to. हुन त के prepare गरेको छैन, just everything out of my head. But yeah guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're confused about how to deload, you don't know how to deload, you could get one of our customized training templates. You can get one-on-one coaching with myself and anybody from my team. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, be strong.